Hey y'all, this is Urs, and welcome back to our continuing coverage of Mama Urs and Urs putting their heads together to victory or death against the zombies. Pretty much picking up right after where we left off. Zombie Horde got dealt with. Ballista will deal with residuals from the City of Doom. And if you didn't catch the first episode of this, yes, Mama Urs and I played this together. We were obsessed with this damn thing for a very long time. But I am narrating it here because we couldn't pick up the audio at the time in any meaningful way. But we decided that we could pick up the video, so we did. That's kind of the reality of the situation. So, here we are. Born to be kings and the princes of the universe? No, in fact, we're here to kill zombies. And that's the way it's gonna be. And if you'll notice, of course, we have a couple snipers coming up, and that is indeed the goal. Support effectively to keep the ladies alive, to make them destroy high priority targets. And so the next push here, not entirely certain what our plan was. So far we had pretty good good success expanding out in ways where the city was not, in order not to fight that face to face. Splatter some brains. I like how this guy has like this really crazy, like, you know, scientist voice, but he's got a big gun and he shoots stuff in the face. Sniper's always funny. This entire game feels like the voice acting was done by, like, have you ever seen that Family Guy bit with like the two foreign guys who've been in America almost long enough to sound American? It's like, if you're looking for good times, Tomek and I are the males for you. Like, it's just kind of what the voice acting is like in this game. Like, I think it's remarkably quirky, but also endearing in a pretty big way. I'm just saying, it's hilarious. And also, welcome to my least favorite part of this game, mill placement. Because advanced mills are ridiculously expensive for maintenance and also for materials, and they're just not a good deal, basically, unless you're really short on space. The most efficient way to gain power, and I mean, let me put an aside here, power plants obviously eat wood and stone, which you need to expand, so just spamming mills and getting a lot of space using mills, we found, is the most efficient way to gain power. Unfortunately, it's really, really fucking tedious and really boring. But if you want to win, man, sometimes you gotta do boring stuff. That's what I'm telling myself, at least. Otherwise, we would just be crying in the corner. And then we go destroying walls, knowing that this place is safe. And we're gonna go ahead and probably Tezzy out here to make sure that we can start making use of these quarries. Because again, we're gonna be expanding hard. We need to get our iron and our stone production up to snuff, in particular our stone production. Simply put, we need a crap ton of stone, and our iron is currently at +5, which is miserably low. I need to shoot something in the face. Yeah, I love that stuff, man. I mean, power plants, let me rephrase, are good kind of toward end game when you need just a bunch of power to supply your Gatling guns, you know, to kill all the stupid little zombies. But I'm gonna stop doing that. It's probably really annoying, but every time I hear a sniper talk, that's what I hear in my head, and it's really weird. But no, power plants are good at the end when you're running out of power for your executors and you've already built your walls and stuff. So that's probably about the only time I'd advise it. But doing it early when you're still trying to expand out and get stuff up with wood and stone, it's not really good. You'd be much better served just dropping a bunch of mills down and finding out space and just taking the time to do that. I know it's annoying. I don't like doing it either, but it is the foo strategy, so you got to do it. Foo being first order optimal. It's the way it is, man. So here we're just upgrading all the walls to stone in case we have a breach. We do not want anything to hit the residential zones, and I'll tell you what, I was definitely, as you can see, I'm putting it toward critical dangerous enemies with the snipers, and we're shifting rangers to close enemies or close by enemies instead, and then we decided whether I should shift it to high priority or not. I'm still trying to decide what the best kind of breakdown is. Yeah, snipers just one-shot stuff. And like I said, veteran snipers are the absolute shiznit. They are awesome. And the other side, there we go. I was like, I need 25 rangers. Let's queue up 25 rangers. There you go. 5 more incoming. But the other part I wanted to mention is that I personally generally don't emphasize upgrading interior walls early on. Mama Urs was a big advocate of doing so. And when I didn't do that, I hadn't gotten close to winning the game except that once, and when we do that now, things are more consistent, and we have more consistent success. So despite my intuition telling me it's not necessary, clearly it's paying dividends. So when you get the chance, upgrade your internal walls in case there's a breakthrough. You don't want them chewing on your houses, you want them just chewing on some more stone walls that you can probably eliminate after the fact. So yeah, upgrade those when you get the chance. Obviously priorities to the externals, that's a given because, well, duh. So we are looking like we're going to go ahead and push on the city here a little bit, and I think primarily because the iron situation I mentioned, our iron production is remarkably low, and there's basically no way we'd be able to support the Titan production late game that we'd need to, especially executors and other things of that nature. That would be quite, how do we put it gently, challenging with this kind of piss poor iron production. So practically speaking, we need to get that up, and we see a lot of iron up here by the City of Doom, so that's kind of what we're angling toward if I were to reconstruct what our strategy was at the time. Obviously, we're kicking out ladies here. We don't want to let them get owned, so we're going to bring them to the big group. We're clearly drawing attention from the west somehow, which is a little annoying because we really want to be working on the city. But here we're going to try to tech up. We have the opportunity and the space to drop a foundry down. So we're going to do that as soon as possible with the interest of kind of starting to kick out Titans quickly, because with 5 Titans on this first map, you can easily clear the map effectively. 5 Titans, if you're careful, 5 Titans is enough firepower to do so. If you want to be a little more reckless with it, you can, less reckless with it, you can do some more, and then you can be a little more reckless with your movement. But if you're trying to be very precise with your Titan placement and trying to be precise with how you micromanage and you have the wherewithal to do that, then 5 Titans is usually enough. So getting early Titans is a good thing. Plus, we want to try out Thanatos, obviously, in the Thanatos update here. There are new units, so we got to check out some of that stuff, baby. So getting up to the Foundry Tech is pretty good. I mean, like I said, we've researched most of the stuff we want out of Stone Tech, and really the only place to go is Foundry. We do need more wood. We do keep hitting shortfalls of that, especially for things like mills, because they do require wood in a hefty amount. I think 20 a pop, if I'm not mistaken. Provide 30 power, something like that. So, and Tesla towers require wood, so we're going to be obviously chunking out a bunch of wood, and anything excess you make is marketplace, and 11 wood basically pays for itself, as far as I understand, comfortably. I don't know what the break-even point is. I really should define the break-even points and have a discussion about that from a strategic point of view, but I'm lazy and busy, and I haven't been able to do that yet, but maybe one day I will. Who knows? Just from my own personal experience. Again, of course, I'm not, like, awesome at this game, and Mom and Urs and I are still learning, of course, but the things that have worked for us, we're definitely kind of trying to spread that around. And remember, you also need a crap ton of wood to upgrade all your tents to cottages, as I just briefly moused over there, and that's going to be a massive expenditure, and we're going to get a couple more snipers to support. Yeah, I think we went with 25 and 5 this particular game, and it's pretty good. And we basically want to hit our first city down here because we're concerned, A, that if there's another horde coming from the north, it might pull way more than we would like at this point. I think we have enough firepower to do so. But with 5 snipers in support, then pretty much nothing gets by, really, and then we're in good shape. Though right now we're being a little, there we go, I was about to say we're being inefficient with our situation. We have a lot of money and wood, we're not using it, and we need to make more food. We should have done proactively a while ago, but we're out of food because we are dumb and don't plan ahead. It's one thing you really got to do in this game a lot, is plan ahead. It's kind of important, because then you're not waiting for, like, I gotta wait for this food to come up, I gotta wait for this power to come up. Like, at this point we should be building food and power, like, right now, and we're not. We're being failures at that, so
a new task.
We'll get there eventually. So now we have the wood, which is nice. We have 24 ladies. We're about to get 2 or 3 more snipers is the goal, and we're getting so much veterancy, if you can hear, because we're just dropping zombies like a boss. We can't really leave the snipers alone either, because they move slowly and they reload slowly, and if they get hoarded by a bunch of runners, you're gonna be in trouble. And now we're pulling quite the number from up there, as you can see. At this point, if I were playing the game with what we knew now, we would be pulling back. We would not be doing this right now. But farm is what we discussed, I think. Oh no, we're gonna go mill first, because that's sensible. There we go, farm. Thank you. And as you can see, the warehouse does boost your farm production. So if you put farms next to warehouses, it's real good. So 72 off a farm instead of normally the max would be 64. It's a good suit, baby. You get another farm down, or should we should be, oh, fisherman's cottage, there we go. I was about to say, we should probably be getting power down at this point before we start spending more wood, more money, but I think we still do it pretty comfortably. The good thing is we can get a lot of fisherman's cottages down here. I think there's a 16 over there that I saw that we've got. 13, 16, there we go. Yeah, we know we can't do it over the stones. That was a good investment. In time, get 12 more food. That we don't have to think about food. As you can tell, we never do anything with half measures. If we need food, we're like, build all the farms and all the fishermen's cottages. There's 15 over there, which we should definitely be doing, which I'm not quite listening to. There we go. But here I'm trying to maximize how many fishermen's cottages we get, so we'll take the 14. We'll take the one food less with the hopes of getting another one in there. Again, we're putting more Tesla towers down and ignoring the fact that we are about to hit a massive shortfall on power, and we're burning through the wood that we need to build mills. Yep, that's exactly what we're doing. Good job. I guess we're just trying to fill in this area pretty quickly with the understanding that wood will come. But, yeah, it's kind of derpy. We should have been doing power, because now we're going to be like, let's build more houses. Oh, wait, power. Derp. And that was, again, pretty stupid. But it's okay. These are the little things you notice after the fact, and you realize how much better. When you think you have good macro, you think you have good economy, and you think you're using your time efficiently, then you know, review. It's actually really educational for me. And looking back on how we put our heads together, and we still manage not to play efficiently because we're just not familiar with the mechanics. So, hey, if you're ever bored and you want to record yourself playing, and you're really hardcore about something, it teaches you what you're doing wrong, like legit. It's good stuff, reviewing all these little footages. And obviously your criticism will obviously be here, like, hey, why are you doing that, dumbass? You know, ha ha ha. But yeah, these ex-post reviews are always quite interesting to me, so
you are gonna pay me
good
for
times.
this, right?
In the end, we did pull a bit of a big group here, so I am going to pull back, I think. But the problem is we're getting surrounded.
Yes.
You see zombies constantly pouring in from the west. I'm not sure why. There probably is a big undead group there. It's kind of freaking me out, but that that group right there is freaking me out. We're a little close. Here, I think we decided to hold our ground, so we're not going to be able to run away from this. We lost a lady there. Can hear the death wail, which is a little unfortunate.
My rifle is ready.
Beverage. But here we're just like, all right, we're going to cut and run. We're going to split the difference. Snipers are like, I fucking hate you. We can get under ballistic coverage pretty well. And basically what we don't want to do is lose units. It's a waste of energy and time to do that, because you have veterans, you have good units, and you don't want to be spending 120 gold every time you need it. But here's another mill. Again, our favorite minigame. Not. It's pretty much the worst. Who do you want me to punish? Yes, yes. We're the males for you. I love the voice acting. It's so just deliciously weird, you know. It's just not quite right. It's just something about it's a little off, and it kind of makes it quite endearing. Last night was amazing. Like, just like, what the fuck? It's just so bizarre. It's these things. These are the things that make games memorable, I guess. It's like, why do they speak like Borat? No one knows. Sniper is ready. It's really just, it's one of those things, right? Good times. Let's get this up. Yeah, we're definitely going to try to expand up here. I'm not sure if we're going to go all the way up to the city at this point, because we're obviously drawing too much attention. I'm not sure if we gave that up, or we're just going to expand west. I think at this point we're like, we should be able to knock down the city, and then like, why are we bothering even doing that? We should be expanding west when there's room. There's zombies there to kill. We can do what we need to and not waste all this time trying to push into a fortified area, and instead build our eco, build our situation. So here you go. Probably the first research we're going to do is oil platforms to start producing oil, duh, but that also basically produces money when you have excess, and that'd be another source of income for when we need it. So obviously something we want to be doing sometime soon. Here we said, should we do this, but we need another ballista. We can't really fit one next to the quarry. We're going to put a mill there, probably not. Again, mill placement, the worst minigame in the world. I really wish there were a better way to do it. I mean, I understand why it's a mechanic. Again, that would be a good place for ballista. Let's not do it there. Let's go out there, yeah. I understand why it's a mechanic, because you do need to obviously balance what's your shortfall, money or space or whatever, and what's the efficient way to get more power. Like, I understand why it's there, but in my opinion, it's probably the single most annoying part of the game. Just is. Right, so we're going back over the city here, or are we actually going to go west? That's a good question I have. Place your votes now. See what we're going to do. I'm going to take a beverage and see what happens. Did you hear that? The sniper is ready.
Building completed.
We got mill completed. Good, so we have some power. So now we should be upgrading houses because we have no wood to do it with. It's going to be like, yeah, there you go. Yep, but I mean, every house that's upgraded gives us more and more income, and that's going to be really important to drive our economy forward. It's critical. It's very important. Yeah, sometimes they select the walls, sometimes they don't. So sometimes you have to do it individually, which is really, really annoying. But, you know, them's the breaks. You don't want to just go upgrade all them into wood because you probably have some wood walls you're not prioritizing. You don't want to burn your stone on like some random walls near, like there you go, those. For example, in the center of the screen right now, don't be upgrading those. You want to be upgrading your outer borders. So, yep, kind of derpy. But anyway, all well and good. Where are we moving with these units is my question, because I want to see if it lines up with what we normally do now naturally. I think it looks like we're doing what we would probably encourage moving forward. Yeah, we're moving out west. We're not fighting the big horde. We're not fighting the city. We're going to be fighting to gain more open space, not in something that's constantly spawning zombies until we take it down. And now cities don't constantly spawn zombies. Like, they just basically hold a certain amount. And as you continue to garner their attention, they keep pouring out of the city until you've depleted the number. And if you get them to pay attention to you enough, you can actually deplete a city to the point where you go in there, there's nothing left in the buildings, and you like you can't even fit into the building. But just getting Zoolander moments here. But yeah, we're gonna definitely push west here, and that's definitely the strategy I would encourage long term. If you really have nowhere else to expand, then go after the city, or if you have force to spare, e.g. your 25 ladies and 5 sniper support are busy somewhere else doing this kind of clearing, and you have 5 titans or 6 or 8 titans sitting on the back end, that's probably when you go in and clear the city. Unless you are really, really stuck and you have no choice, or it's in a really dangerous position. Ideally, you should prioritize expanding out to places where it's easier to expand to. So that's what we're doing. Definitely the right choice, definitely the right decision. Snipers are like, you need to be shooting the fatty. You're not shooting the fatty. I'm like, you need to shoot the fatty. You need to shoot the fatty. There you go. And Chubby's punching you in the face. And we're like, we need to keep them together more, because, like I said, runners can kind of chew apart snipers. You're going to be a little careful. Until they become veterans, and then they're a little more self-sustainable. But how many snipers do we have? We have 4? Yeah, we have 4. As you can see, this is the attention we are drawing from the west with our sniper shots. Obviously, there is a big pile of undead there, which would definitely get in the way of us dealing with the City of the Damned. Or Doom. I tend to say City of the Damned for some reason, because it's way more dramatic. And here we go again. When you have the money to spare, when you have the resources to spare, put down quarries. They're going to pay for themselves effectively sooner rather than later. And if you can make a good positive balance of payments, then always put them down, even if you don't use the resources, because it's free income. And effectively, you're generating income every turn. If you're just sitting there not putting down quarries, you're hurting yourself. So, yep, do it, especially if they make money, because they do. And it's another good source of finding a way to support yourself. And building that economy. So everything really can, once you have a marketplace down, of course. Not early game, it's not necessarily the best choice, especially if you get a lot of stone drops. You don't need to build quarries early, but as you start pushing and your economy starts getting up to like the thousands, 2,000 range, gold per turn, just do it. It's going to keep augmenting. Capital makes capital, after all. So do it, baby. Economics with Urs. Why? No one knows. Urs hated economics in college. Maybe go to sleep. That's really what happened. But now I'm applying this and learning it from video games. So hey, another benefit to playing video games and wasting your life. No, I'm kidding. It's a lot of fun. Good times, man. I'm gonna explode a skull. Snipers are strange. Strange people. Why are they over there? Or are we using them to control the east side, which is probably not the best move. They do gain veterancy pretty slowly compared to the Rangers. Obviously, they're higher tier units, but once they're veterans, like they're pretty legit. They don't move any faster, but they do fire and reload faster. There we go. That's what we should be doing. Every time we have spare wood, we should be upgrading cottages. As long as we have spare power and spare food, which we definitely do in abundance now. So definitely the right choice. Build that eco, build that eco, build that eco. We're not building the stone houses yet because they're quite expensive in food and power, so we're going to try to concentrate down on cottages first and then go into that stone. And obviously, as we're expanding, we're putting stone walls down, so we're going to be spending a lot of our stone resources on that. Snipers currently are standing there holding their dongs for no apparent reason, just shooting stuff as target practice, kind of skeet shooting, so they should really be together with our rangers doing work. But our goal here is to lock off this other area before the next horde. Because we just had Horde at day... We're like balls. Enemies here already.
Any infected around?
So we just had Horde 4 at day 46 or so. So obviously we want to get this down before Horde 5 comes, which I think it's like day 53 or 54 on average thereabouts. There's obviously some delta there, but now questioning why we don't see enemies here. If you don't see them, they're probably hiding behind the, there you go, hiding behind the canyon. That is exactly what was going on there. So if you suddenly can't put down walls and you don't see anything, it's probably because hiding around a corner that you don't have vision on. So FYI, we're going to put a ballista down every front. As you do, we should put it one tile back so we can actually tile out double walls. There we go. Very good. I like me. We make good decisions, and in retrospect, we made some good decisions here. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and tile this off now, because again, if we get a push and a mini horde coming in from there, we don't want to get caught out. Now, we do want to expand further and further and further, but we're going to just go ahead and take the land we've gotten, because again, it's another massive quarry, some expansion, some farmland. It's basically what we need to get going. And we'll be doing these kind of districts, and we want to basically, if you think about your residential areas and your command center as your point of threat, you never want to have your outer wall be defending your command center or your housing districts in general. You never want like that, if like upon failure of that wall, then suddenly, oh crap, look, we have an infection, because once your city is infected, like, it's pretty much game over. You just start seeing hordes and hordes of zombies, and not much you can do. So the goal here is more than just obviously expanding. What you want to do, you want to make your base as big as possible, so you have a lot more leeway when they start pushing in. But you want to make sure you have that buffer district where they have to shoot through 2 sets of walls, a bunch of ballista, and they come in further, and you still have another fallback. That's basically what gets you through bigger hordes and stuff, especially if you're not there soon enough. If you can't get your units there, you're unprepared, or vice versa. It gives you some time to work, and also obviously kind of toward an end game as it gets really nasty. But here we're gonna go back after the city, and I don't know if I agree with that decision now that I'm looking at it. I probably would have rather we pushed out further west, gotten some of those quarries of iron and gold that you see out there. That would have been better long term, and we could have just done the city later. I mean, honestly, that likely would have been better. I think we were doing this now because we're like, it's a liability if a big horde comes, it'll get to us. But look, I mean, out west, if you look at that, there's some resource drops, there's some big places to expand. It's not as good a choke, clearly it opens up there a little bit, but here we go, giant swarm coming in. So we're pulling back a bit, trying to get this. And every time you hit a building, you will clear. Yeah, so this is interesting. A horde without an E. Oh. If you're going to do it in French for fun and profit, it's coming from the west. So obviously it's going to hit potentially a new expansion area. It's also potentially going to hit where we have the tents. So that's concerning, right? That could also be west. And given that's a bigger front, is a higher likelihood they will hit there. So if you didn't know how the game's AI works, and I'm going to probably say this multiple times until you get sick of hearing it, but where the horde swings and where it comes from, it always picks your weakest area. The game does calculate that. So just if you think like at the last second, oh, it turned because I moved my units there and just built a ballista, that's so unfair. And you think it's just your mind playing tricks on you. No, it legitimately did that. Like, it legitimately actually consciously turned in that direction, because the game's AI is programmed to do that, to make you suffer for your decisions. So what the hell? Yeah, I was like, why can't we put a ballista there? And I'm like, no, we're getting rid of that because it's a liability, because tents are infected in like 2 hits. And if that goes off, yeah, we're boned basically. So unfortunately, what we did here is we pissed off the city of the damned. Kind of annoying in that sense, but we can still, it's exactly what I was saying. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the land we've gotten so far, because we can't really afford to stay here with a horde on the way. And what we're going to do instead is just drop some walls, duck behind the walls, have them chew on those while we kill them, and then GTFO to deal with the horde as soon as possible. We're trying to get out of here quickly. They're going to be chewing on this, but now we have plenty of room to fire from.
They are trying to break through.
We can deal with the fatty here. The snipers are concentrating on the fatty. We can deal with the rest of the horde. So that's deal withable at this point. And as you see also in the lower right corner, you are going to get pushed from roughly the opposite side of where the horde is coming from, to make sure your defenses aren't focused to one side. Like, they will always do that sort of thing. And again, that is the game's AI doing exactly what's intended. It's basically designed to keep you honest and to make sure that you're covering all your bases, because if you don't, you're going to get broken into and promptly killed. So again, we're saying, should we put a ballista up there with the City of Doom, or should we put one in the west right now? What's the main priority? And what we decided, I think, was that we're just going to put the ballista in the west to make sure we're covered from the horde, and we can always just kind of let those walls hold for a little bit, and we can cycle back once we kill a couple things here. Yeah, we're getting pushed from everywhere. Everywhere the Horde is not, notice they're all on the east side. So this is why you basically build ballistas everywhere, so you don't have to constantly run your forces back and forth when you're trying to set up for where the Horde is going to come from. And the idea here is to figure out actually where these little fuckers are going to be, because my guess is we're going to get hit kind of southwest right there, effectively. That's where I think the next front's going to be. So we're obviously thinking about maybe putting another set of walls down to have them chew on that. Now this is the 5th Horde, so they do start getting a little meatier, and sometimes 2 sets of walls isn't enough. But in a way it's kind of silly here because they're just going to hit the weakest part, effectively, and where the tents are closest, so there's no real good way to buffer this down. So we're going to need to put a Tesla down eventually to get this wall down, so we're going to put one here as it stands. Likely we'll not be able to get the wall up before the Horde hits, but I'm going to, you know, I'm going to assume I'm correct. I definitely don't remember. But yeah, see where the Horde's coming from? It's definitely going to hit there. Definitely going to hit there. So now that we see that little red arrow saying that's where the Horde is, we're going to slide down the snipers first because they are slower.
Gonna splatter some brains.
And then the ladies are going to go deal with the remnants of the city before shit gets weird. I'm not that we're going to move them all down already. We're just going to assume that's going to hold. Which may or may not be the right decision. Don't we have a soldier around somewhere? Or he leaves him there? Oh, he's leaving a couple ladies there. Some vets, maybe. Is that what we're doing? Yes, we're doing. We're going to leave 2 or 3 units there while we move everyone else down.
Okay.
Alright, so 3 ladies up there. Deal with the city. The rest of them are going to go ahead. We're going to make a new group out of this because we want to not constantly move those ladies south. So that's what we're doing. We're not building another ballista. We're just leaving a couple units there. That makes sense. It's going to kind of weaken our overall defensive position, but it's not going to be the end of the world. There we go. They're going to deal with that while we deal with the invasion that's about to come. And again, this can get a little scary, especially that we see tents near the outer marker. So if you remember what I told you, you don't want to be in this situation where your tents are the only way, are the only thing standing between the Horde and the rest of your city, because that just generates lots and lots of undead when they get infected. And we're definitely putting up a 3rd ballista here because the front is so big that we want to make sure we defend it. But again, we expanded here first. It's not like we did something wrong per se. It's just there's a bigger risk here, so definitely want to defend it as much as possible. I'm not sure what we're trying to finance here. What we're trying to finance here. We're trying to finance another ballista. That's not going to happen. I can tell you that right now. Without completely gutting our money supply. Oh, extra walls we wanted. We need some cash to finance that. Yeah. So it's in this, we know the Horde is coming here. We want to make sure they have more to chew on. They're probably still going to hit the weakest part, but if they do start spilling around, they'll at least have more walls to deal with. It's really kind of annoying. We can't really do too much because there's enemies everywhere. But whatever. And again, we have another mini Horde coming from the city there, drawn by the fact that another Horde is coming, and then there's a lot of attention and things going on. But yes, here come the mighty rangers, and the snipers are ever so slowly moving here. And this is, like I said, the 5th Horde is where it starts getting a little funky. You start getting special undead, you start getting fatties mixed in, which is a little scary. And notice they're all congregating on the single weakest point, and the snipers are still walking over. And we're looking at this kind of going, uh-oh, our tents are here, and we're not killing these things yet. So now we start going into desperation mode and going, oh shit, we're about to get infected. So this wall may be removed later. I think it was actually, or we might have left it. But this is just insurance against us getting completely shagged when they break through. We're not undoing buildings. We're going to leave them there. Attaboy, yeah. We're going to lock this down like this so they have, yeah, trying to basically make a cordoned off zone so that they can't quite hit the buildings as soon as this happens. We're not undoing anything. Come on. Put it down and get through with the Horde, buddy. Coaching my past self is so embarrassing. Beverage. And again, there's some iron in the way, so we can't quite do it. But this at least channels them toward our ballistas a little further. I mean, this is the sort of thing you need to do when you start seeing situations like this. I'm not sure if that secondary wall even comes into play here. But effectively, we just need to stop the progress. Now, luckily, they're all kind of humping each other and not doing that much work overall. But as you can see, like, this is exactly what the Hordes do. They hit your weakest point. But again, it looks like they just broke through a bit, but I think we can handle this. And they didn't even break through effectively because they're going after the wall instead. So, secondary set of walls, turns out, not necessary. Horde is done. The music stopped. Hooray, hurrah, huzzah, and all that other good stuff. But yeah, so we held, but once the 5th horde hits day 51, instead of day 52, I was a little wrong on that, shit starts getting hairy. You start getting fatties, you're getting lots of meat in the hordes, and things get a little more complicated. So you definitely want to make sure you budget your defenses just a little more, just a little harder, because it's just not going to go your way if you're not careful. So that's what we're doing here. Because we're so far to the edge of the map here, we don't have a lot of time to react. As you saw, our snipers basically didn't get here until the horde was effectively done. So that was a little suboptimal, let's put it that way. What am I doing here? Getting rid of the 3rd layer here. Why? Is it because we want to expand out anyway, and we're going to try to get better chokes as it stands? I think so. I'm not going to delete every single stone wall here. We're just going to leave that. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're saying we're going to expand further. Let's not build out the wall all the way. And there's some banshees now. We're getting closer to the edge of the map.
Roger that.
And what are we doing currently? I think we're going to go back to deal with the city. Is that really what we're doing? Yeah, that is what we're doing. Oh man, we got a hard-on for that city this game.
Are you sure?
Anyways, hope you enjoyed this particular retrospective episode, as we're going to come back with some more adventures of Mama Urs and Ursa's heads together trying to kill some zombies. Alright, I'll see you all next time. Till then...